Consider this for a moment. What trial, what difficulty are you facing right now? And could it possibly, in some profound, maybe unexpected way, be used to deepen your faith, to maybe even uncover a hidden joy inside you? Life? Well, it throws immense difficulties our way, doesn't it? Moments that really feel like they might just break us, wear us down completely. But what if, just what if, these challenges aren't simply obstacles we have to somehow endure? What if they actually have a deeper purpose, a design behind them? Could it be that the most intense pressures, paradoxically, lead to the most beautiful, the strongest outcomes? Could they really transform how we understand pain and maybe its purpose? It's a challenging thought to really embrace. This idea that hardships, often compared to, a refining fire, aren't meant to destroy us. Instead, they're meant to purify, to refine, to strengthen the very core of who we are. These moments, as incredibly tough as they are to get through, are maybe presented as opportunities to shape our hearts, perhaps reveal our true nature. It kind of asks us to view our deepest struggles not as curses, but maybe as a crucible, a place for profound spiritual change. But how does that actually work? What is it that's being refined in us?
That's a really crucial distinction to make. When you look at ancient wisdom traditions talking about spiritual trials, there's often this powerful comparison to refining precious metals, like silver and gold. Just think about it. Intense heat burns away the impurities, right, from these valuable metals. And in a similar way, life's toughest challenges, even though they're painful, they can paradoxically cleanse us, strengthen us. The point isn't suffering just for the sake of suffering. No, it's about bringing forth something genuinely beautiful, something resilient, something pure. So this process really, it's not just about endurance. It's about being fundamentally changed. It's about spiritual growth, finding a deeper connection, revealing the true substance of our character. It really gets down to figuring out what's essential within us when everything else seems to be stripped away.
So this fire, it's not just a metaphor for, say, discomfort. It's a specific kind of transformative heat. What sort of impurities are we talking about here? What does this fire burn away? Is it things like our self-sufficiency, our fears, maybe our need for control, or something else?
Exactly. Often the dross, you could call it, that the fire reveals and helps purge, it is that deep-seated need for control we all have, or our attachment to external things for security. Maybe even our own sort of limited ideas about what joy or peace should look like. It's that self-reliance that sometimes, stops us from leaning into a greater strength. Or maybe the superficial things we chase, things that actually hide what truly nourishes our soul. This refining process strips away what's not essential, and it reveals, ideally, a bedrock of resilience, an inner source of peace that maybe was always there, but perhaps hidden by life's comforts and complexities.
Yeah.
It really compels us to face who we are at our core without all the external stuff.
And this idea, this profound concept of trials having a higher purpose, and it's not new, is it? It finds this remarkable anchor in ancient texts. It's resonated for generations, offering a kind of cornerstone for understanding.
Right. To really grasp the depth of this, we can look at Zechariah chapter 13, verse 9. It says, "This third I will put into the fire. I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, they are my people, and they will say, the Lord is our God." Now, if you think about the context there, Israel was facing immense judgment, purification, like a nation coming out of huge trial, exile even. This fire wasn't random. It was presented as deliberate. Painful, yes, but ultimately redemptive. Designed to restore a broken relationship, a broken identity. It paints this really vivid picture of a divine presence actively, intensely working through hardship to reshape his people. Not just despite the hardship. The passage speaks about a covenant relationship being forged right there in the heat of adversity, where people in distress cry out, and the divine response clarifies who they are and who they belong to. It's this reciprocal declaration, you see, solidifying identity on both sides.
That's a really powerful framework. But, okay, for us today, the natural question comes up, what does this mean when we're genuinely, in the thick of it? When everything just feels like it's falling apart around us, how can joy even be a possibility? It feels counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Almost impossible to reconcile, doesn't it? For most of us, joy is the absence of pain. But here we're talking about its presence right within the pain.
You've really hit on one of the most profound paradoxes of the human spirit, perhaps. Joy in this specific context isn't defined as, the absence of hardship. And it's not just fleeting happiness either, like finding a $20 bill you forgot about. That's a critical difference. Instead, it's described quite profoundly as the presence of God in the middle of it. So what that means is, True joy isn't dependent on your circumstances changing externally. It's more about an internal recognition, an active acknowledgement, a kind of deep-seated peace that's forged right in the midst of the storm. It's an unwavering trust, really. Trust in divine nearness, in provision, even when chaos is all around. It's that peace that, well, the Bible says it surpasses understanding. It can only be found when you lean into something deeper than your immediate pain. And this isn't about, toxic positivity. It's not dismissing the anguish at all. It's about discovering a source within that even suffering can't dry up.
And this isn't just a nice theory, is it? Or some ancient prophecy. We actually see this happening in real lives today. People living out this seemingly impossible joy, finding it exactly when you'd least expect it. Think about this powerful example from just recently, 2024. A cancer survivor down in New Mexico. She's facing this overwhelming health crisis right there from her hospital room. And what does she do? She starts recording worship songs. Not just to pass time, but actively engaging her faith, pouring her heart out in the middle of immense suffering, physical and emotional. And she said, quite openly, singing reminded me I wasn't alone. Her videos just filled with this raw praise from such a vulnerable place that resonated so deeply, reached thousands, offered real hope to others fighting their own battles. And she said something really profound about it, something that captures exactly what we're talking about. The fire didn't steal my praise, it revealed it.
That's striking, isn't it? How her praise wasn't diminished by that intense fire of her illness. If anything, it became more evident, more powerful, more inspiring. Her act of worship, right from that place of deep vulnerability, it wasn't just for her own comfort. It radiated outwards. It became a beacon, showing resilience, demonstrating that faith, when it's tested like that, can actually be purified, amplified. The fire didn't consume her spirit. It sort of illuminated the gold within it, letting her praise shine even brighter. It's just a vivid picture of how sometimes our greatest gifts are forged in our hardest times.
Mm-hmm. And there's another really compelling story. A father who lost his job during a big economic downturn. He's facing not just his own uncertainty, but, the immediate threat to his family's stability. But instead of just despairing, which would be understandable, he made a conscious choice, something different. He gathered his family together every night for prayer and gratitude. Even though the resources were incredibly limited, he deliberately chose to foster this atmosphere of faith, of thankfulness, right when their security was totally shaken. And his experience really illustrates this principle beautifully. He said, we didn't have much, but we had peace. And that peace, he said, turned into joy when we saw God provide again and again.
Both stories, though they're different circumstances, they show this profound common thread, don't they? How actively seeking that divine presence, expressing gratitude even when things look dire. How that can transform a basic peace into something much deeper, an enduring joy. And this joy, it's not rooted in the problems disappearing. It's rooted in recognizing and experiencing that provision consistently, even if it's not always how we expect it. It really shows that joy isn't reliant on the external situation. It depends on that internal connection, on a perspective you cultivate, one that lets you see beyond the immediate hardship. It's about trusting that even in the scarcity, there's an abundance of grace.
So it really seems these trials, they aren't just about enduring, not just gritting our teeth and pushing through. There's something fundamental shifting, a deep change happening in our relationship with God, with ourselves, through these very experiences. It's not just about survival. It's about becoming something more, deeper, refined.
That's precisely it. And the question then becomes, well, how does this process fundamentally change who we are? That scripture in Zechariah 13:9, it gives us the answer. Through this experience, people will call on my name and I will answer them. I will say, they are my people, and they will say, the Lord is our God. See, this isn't just about getting through hardship. It's about forging a stronger bond, a more intimate bond with the divine. When that fire strips away the external things, accolades, financial security, even physical comfort, we're forced to face who we are without them. And that clarifies our core values, right? It reveals where our true security lies. It solidifies our sense of belonging. That phrase, they are my people, it stops being just a label. It becomes an experienced reality, a deeply felt identity. And saying, the Lord is our God, well, that becomes a profound personal conviction, not just something you recite. It builds a trust so deep that no matter how intense the fire gets, there's this constant responding presence. And that leads to an unshakable faith, a faith that goes beyond circumstances. It's really in those moments of vulnerability, of reliance, that we discover our authentic self. So the ultimate truth, maybe, that comes out of all this. The insight that ties it together, it's genuinely transformative. It reframes our whole perspective on suffering, on challenge. It invites us to look beyond the pain, to see the purpose.
Indeed. The core message, the enduring truth, boils down to this. God refines us with fire, not to burn us, but to bring forth something beautiful and strong. And it really powerfully captures the redemptive purpose of trials. They aren't arbitrary punishments, not senseless suffering. Instead, they're constructive. They're purposeful processes designed to lead to resilience, to a deeper, more authentic faith, and ultimately to spiritual flourishing. They're shaping us, you see.
Yeah.
Not destroying us. We're preparing us, not merely testing us. Ultimately, then, these insights invite us, all of us, to view our own challenging moments very differently, not as just destructive forces, but as purposeful processes designed to purify, to strengthen, and ultimately to unveil a deeper sense of joy and connection than we might have known before. So again, I invite you to consider this personally. What trial are you facing right now that might, in a profound and maybe unexpected way, be used to deepen your faith and uncover a hidden joy within you?